Welcome to ExpandAbilities Meets, the podcast for mindset, resilience, and real conversations help shape complete athletes. I'm Alex.
I'm Robert.
Mysterious. Okay. Each
Robert.
ep- each episode, we dive into the mental side of athletic performance, the stories behind the struggles, and the habits to help athletes grow on and off the field. Thanks for being here. Let's expand our abilities together. Who almost messed that one up? Let's get into it. But before we do, as mentioned in the last video at the end, we have a Patreon account that we have launched and a membership titled the Meets Collective. It is where you can find exclusive content such as guest appearances on our Meets videos, extended Meets podcasts, and Rob acting hopefully normal. But it is a time where you guys can all meet each other kind of in a way. It's $5 a month. It's an incredible membership experience, and we can do different type of things like we do VIP meets, we can do group meets, and that way we it's just a great way to grow our platform and grow our brand with what we've been trying to be doing, just mainly sticking with this because we love being here and we love doing it, or else we wouldn't be doing it, right? You've
That's
rolled your
right.
eyes. You're rolling your eyes.
That's right.
So, with that being said, let's now
Oh,
get into
Scott,
it.
Scott.
No, there is no sky.
You're right.
Let's get into it. So,
Let's get into this.
but no, last time we talked about the quitting culture.
Yeah.
Now we are talking about burnout. I think those two kind of go hand in hand. That's why I thought this would be kind of a cool segue into our next one with
Right.
it being burnout, right?
Right.
Um,
Right.
let's kind of focus it more towards, I guess burnout can happen with anyone in athletics, right? But high school, right? I mean, there are a lot of kids who stop playing a sport in high school. We talked about it in our last episode. They stop playing sports, they quit, right?
Yeah.
What causes that? And I guess this is kind of where we throw the topic in there of burnout. I've said it a couple
Okay.
times already, but what do you
Yeah.
what do you think? Do you feel like burnout plays a huge role in high school athletics?
Yes, it does. You know, well, you start with the expectations of one of the expectations of themselves. They may have high expectations for themselves and then not meeting those expectations. And
Like, what could be the expectation though? What could it be?
they want to place they want to place at regionals.
Okay.
They put all this work in, wherever sport it is, they put all this work in, and then they're not seeing the results. So now they're like, man, you know what? Why am I getting up? It's just going to be the same old thing. It's just going to be the same old results.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a lot of pressure from mom and dad of hearing them. I put all this money into you, and this is what you're doing. Or even have to wait for that ride home after a competition, and you already know what's going to happen. So it's going to be quiet for a moment, especially if it's a away meet or game or whatever. It's a 45-minute drive home, and for the first 15 minutes, it's quiet. Next thing you know, it's usually dad can't hold himself together. He starts going like, "Hey, what's going on? What happened? Why can't you do this? Why can't you fix this? I put all this money. I'm just going to stop paying for this crap because we're not getting the results."
And then they start to feel like they're the problem.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I definitely see where you're coming from. I mean, I think there's a lot to unpack there. But every athlete goes through something different mentally, right? We don't know their personal story. And like what you said, maybe they feel like the pressure is too much. We talked about pressure in a previous episode as well.
Yeah.
Um, but maybe they feel like the pressure is too much. They're not getting what they want out of it. Maybe it's an outside force like a parent.
Yeah.
Maybe the atmosphere is just terrible.
Maybe it
Maybe
feels like a job to them.
it should never feel like a job though. It really shouldn't. I mean, it should be your escape, and that's the thing. But think of the other side too. It's like, yeah, you get burnt out, but the reason some kids stay in sports is because it truly helps them. It is their escape. It is their therapy. I
Yeah.
mean, heck, look at all the movies that are out there about it. One of the ones I saw, what is it? Oh man. It has Samuel L. Jackson. He plays the basketball coach. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. I
forgot
know
what
what show
it's.
you're talking about.
Okay. Well, he's the basketball coach. There's an individual in that one of the characters, right? He was part of the basketball team, and then Samuel L. Jackson made him do like something crazy, like what you would do. Uh,
like a like 100 push-ups, and
literally,
even
it,
have you
it, it
done,
was
you're not still on the team because
exactly.
you have to do everything that they've done since you've been gone.
Yes, and that's the same guy. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
But you have to do 750 suicides and 500 push-ups. Get started. Man, that's the Harris effect right there. Um, I think I would have quit right there. Depends how much you're into it though. But with him, like, what was the alternative? The alternative was gangs lifestyle, right?
yeah,
It's like if he wasn't playing basketball, then he's out in the streets. And how many movies do you see like that? I mean, All American. I know you don't watch it, but I know your wife does. But All American is very similar, where they live in South Crenshaw. He gets recruited to go play in Beverly Hills. That's the whole basis.
hmm
And he leaves South Crenshaw to go to Beverly Hills just so he can ultimately chase his dream of being an All-American. I mean, heck, they made 8 seasons off of this stuff. So, yes, there's a lot of drama tied into it, which we don't have to talk about because I like to live my life drama free. But you think of the outside factors, you think of the impact that everything else has on you. And the minute sports start feeling like a job, you kind of just want out of it.
yeah,
It's supposed to
yeah,
serve the purpose as the escape, but heck, what if sports is the one thing going for me? You got to think of what's the other part. What's that other part? And it's what's better. What's better for me? And I feel like there's a lot going through your head when you're put in that type of situation. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. I mean, when it turns into a job, especially when it turns into a job with some of these athletes, whatever I always say whatever sport it may be, because I don't know who's out there, what sports they're in. But when it stops being fun, turns into a job, you dread going to practice. I mean, it's okay to like, but when you really dread going to practice, you know, too much pressure, too early in life, they can't handle it. It
Maybe
becomes
maybe they're not starting. They've been
yeah,
trying so hard for that starting spot, and then it's just they're not going to get it.
yeah.
I mean, what's another example? I'm trying to think of some more
Or
examples on the spot.
yeah, hey, or get this. You have a quarterback that's a quarterback his freshman year, he's a starting quarterback. His sophomore year, he's the starting quarterback. Junior year, there's still a guy in front of him, which is understandable. But that guy gets hurt, and then the sophomore goes in before that junior, and now
I'd be
he's the starter.
pissed. I'd be pissed.
Yeah,
And it's like, is that really? I mean, I guess it could be burnout, right? It's like I've been playing this game longer than this other kid, and he's playing over me.
and I have the stronger arm, and I am tougher. But there's something about me that I'm not. It's just not getting to the coach's head. So what do I need to do?
That's kind of how I felt when I was in high school. I started both freshman and sophomore year at right guard, right? And you know how I feel about the offensive line.
Yeah,
I live and breathe it, right? So my junior year in our high school was huge. So my junior year, we had a freshman, was heck, we had 4 freshman teams. We had a sophomore team, kind of like an A and a B team at the sophomore level too. And then obviously JV and varsity. JV and varsity all practice together, sophomores practice together, and freshmen practice together. So when I get to varsity, it's junior seniors, right? So I'm practicing, I'm getting starting reps at offensive line. It's cool. I'm not that tall of an individual. I lifted pretty heavy, but I was 5'10", 5'11", right? Everyone else was 6 foot plus. Some were 6'5". It's crazy. And then coach brings up this guy, right? I'm not gonna say any names, but brings up this guy, from the sophomore team, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. And constantly, it was just a revolving door. You know, it's like, hey, you're playing this. Hey, you're off this. You're playing this. You're off this. And it's just like, I get it. You're trying to get me to work hard and all, but I am trying. Um, and I'll be honest with you, there was a point in high school where I considered heavily transferring to a different high school because it was to a point in where I played, like I told you, 13 years of football, right?
Yeah,
It was to the point where I did dread going. It was so rough because I wasn't getting reps. Um, and the coaches were not my favorite, right? We just didn't have that type of culture, which I'm grateful I get to coach in right now, right? Where
yeah,
I'm at right now, we have that culture, and it's really cool to build something in that culture. But back then, all my friends quit the team. Talk about burnout. Everyone you associate with quits the team because of the same reasons, the same
yeah,
reasons. And it's just like, I don't know how long I can put up with this. And especially when you get to varsity athletics, it is like a job. You're training in
yeah,
the off season. And then when you're not in the off season, you're in summer camp. When you're not in summer camp, you're middle of the season. You're trying to make the postseason. Your hope is to go until the beginning of December,
yeah.
right? So it's just like I it's
You
just
know,
it takes a mental toll on you.
yeah. And I have a kind of similar story. Me as a sophomore, I I did go up. I did play varsity football, but then when I was a senior, I got that frustration because I started, but it wasn't feeding me the ball. And every time I got the ball, I was getting 4 yards here, or a 10-yard catch, or a 12-yard catch, or 6 yards here. And they would never, or then when we get to the goal line, I wouldn't see, if I got to the goal line, then I wouldn't see the ball. It was so frustrating. I was like, man, why am I even doing this? I would go home. My brother, he played for Kansas, and he would just, I would talk to him like, he would say, man, you just gotta just keep going. Just go. You're gonna be fine. And it's just frustrating.
And that was
So
my
I
dad.
get it.
The same way your brother was exactly how my dad was. You know, you think of these role models who just tell you to keep going, keep pushing, and um, when it comes to a point where you can't anymore, that's a personal decision.
Yeah,
And we could discuss that in a minute, but it's so important to have that role model, you know, someone who you can talk to in these types of situations. Heck, I get these types of situations sometimes in my professional life, and heck, I call you.
we
Um,
call each other.
yeah, we do.
Sure.
And I mean, my dad's always been a constant force in my life where it's like he's pushed me to be the kind of guy I am today. And I feel like you have to push. And that it's something, I know it doesn't sound the greatest to, like, hey, you got to push someone, but you have to. You have
Yeah.
to, because if we go by our internal kind of motivator, it's sometimes non-existent. And so
I
going from
mean, but
there,
yeah, you think about, we're talking about burnout, but these students, they're training year round. You know,
what do you think about that? What do you think about that? So say we talked about in our last episode them sticking with one sport, right? How it's becoming more of a common theme, common trait among all these student athletes, right? So, hey, I'm only going to stick with football, only going to stick with wrestling. I've seen a lot of the wrestling ones
yeah,
lately. And so, like, what do you think about that? Like, do you feel like burnout will happen more in the near future or what?
burnout will happen. I'm not going to say more or less, but I'm going to say it will happen when it's not managed properly.
Okay.
So, for example, for myself, and I can only speak on I don't want to talk about other individuals, but I know for myself and my son, because I he wrestled year round. But at the beginning of each season, beginning of it, I will always ask him, "Do you want to wrestle this year?" He would say yes. I say, "You know what we put into it. Everything that's going to take place." He would say, "Okay, yes." He's ready for it. So if you don't have that candid conversation with your with your athlete. Give them that opportunity to say, no, I don't want to do it anymore. Trust me. Every time I asked for 5 years, every time I asked that question, my heart was going boop, 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 boop. I hope he says he wants to go. I hope he says he wants to continue. So I mean,
But
so I was
but
fortunate.
you still had the same conversation with him though, and I think that's
Yeah,
something, you had no expectations. You had the conversation thinking like, hey, one day he could be like, I just don't want to do this,
right,
and you have to support it. But at the same
right.
time, as a father, I feel like you could still push it from a loving perspective, where it's like you've been doing this forever, and um,
Persuasive.
yeah, you could be kind of persuasive. But I mean, those are the same stories I heard. Like I had a student athlete uh, who I talked about recently who chose to stick with football, been wrestling his entire life since he was like 3 years old, and just said, like, I'm burnt out. Literally, his words, I'm burnt out. This kid is an amazing kid,
Yeah,
and he will go really far. Um, just a great personality, great athlete, great socially with other people. I mean, he's someone you would dream to have on your team for sure, because he's just a leader. And he he said to me, he was like, Coach, I'm burnt out. I can't wrestle anymore. I just want to focus on football. And apparently he had that candid conversation with his parents, like what you had with your son.
yeah.
Um, and his parents just said, all the attention you focus towards wrestling, now focus every piece of attention and every ounce of energy towards football. And I really hope and pray he doesn't get burnt out from football. But
The
again,
possibility.
I've seen it from all these different angles where it's like you're doing it year round.
Mhm.
It's I don't know. It's just different. I feel like with football, there's a lot of different skills and technique driven drills and training you
Mhm.
can do. For wrestling, it's a little bit different because of these wrestling clubs. You're pretty much just wrestling, right? Like it's
Yeah,
pretty much you're getting a lot of experience, learning more technical skills, but you're pretty much wrestling, just wrestling. You're competing. You're going against people the same weight class year round. And you're trying to refine everything. Where it's like football, you're more can't even talk today.
blah
You're
blah 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 blah.
yeah, telling me, man.
Right.
Uh, but you're more focused on the smaller aspect and the more technical skills of it, right?
Yeah. Of
So it's just like when you think of burnout, though, we talk about sports, but can it translate to life?
course it can. You know, I mean, people get burned out in every aspect. Get burned out with their current job. Burned out with
You had a job you were burnt out with. I remember
oh, I was
we
past
talked
burned out.
we talked
I was
we
past.
talked on the phone every day. You always tell me like you were like, man, I gotta quit. I'm quitting, man. Like I'm
I
like,
was
Rob, you
done.
told me this every day for so long. Like, when are you gonna do it? Rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, man. I was like burned out. I was done with that. I was done with that. Couldn't do it.
You're like, man, screw that
Another
job.
day, man. I said, no, I'm like,
It
put me in
didn't
the
help that
poorhouse.
it didn't help that it was it did it didn't help that it was an overnight job too. So there was like no action.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean that part where the bother me is more so the leadership that was
I get it,
there.
and that's the
Even
thing.
though
Like,
I right, even though I was a supervisor, but I still had somebody I had to report to as well.
well,
So
I feel like that's the same thing across the board with burnout. Leadership and administration always tie some part into it, right?
yeah, yeah, and yeah.
So,
Without getting into some things,
Tony specifics.
I didn't want to
What about? I remember
be near
you
that person ever again.
you told me you were going to quit that job, and then you applied to another job and you kept them hanging for like 6 months, and then, and then you were like, they're like, Robert, when are you going to come work for us? And you just never respond. You were like, uh, uh, soon.
Soon, I got a car accident. I'll be there.
Literally, yeah, you can't. It wasn't even a severe accident. That's the worst part.
It was an accident, though. I wasn't lying.
Dude, it could have
I
been
was not lying.
it could have been a fender bender.
It was a fender bender. for his, yeah, my truck, nothing happened to my truck, but yeah.
and
But
then came FMLA.
that was, man, whoever created that, they're a genius. And
FMLA?
I know who created it, but yeah,
Well, yeah.
but it was. I took. I hate to say it. I deserved every day off that I got from it.
Well, yeah, I know. Rob, you work like a madman.
Hey, it was mentally. It was mentally. What's the word I want? I want like it helped me mentally. Basically,
How important are mental health days?
they're important. Refuel, recharge. Um, take a. You never get everything what's on your mind. You never get all that off of your mind. However, it is a chance just to hey, just take a break. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it was literally enjoyable. Oh, I can just go up to Indiana. Let me just go see Alex. I can just, whatever. I had nothing holding me back. It was wonderful.
So think about how much that can correlate to burnout. Because if individuals aren't, I mean, at the very least, getting enough sleep, that ties into burnout.
Yeah,
When you hold practices, it actually has nothing to do with the program or the coach. I mean, I just feel like it's a lot of time. It's just time management,
yeah,
self advocacy. Like being able to not just take a rest and relax. This is something
right.
I have trouble with. I'm not good at relaxing. I need something to do majority of the time.
I know that.
I know you do. Because I just call you and I'm bored. Um, but if it really makes you think that if someone's just committed to a sport year round, 24/7, do they really relax? Because then they're just so focused on what's next.
Yeah,
If you're wrestling, you're worried about your weight. There's always something you're worried about.
right, right. And like this year, what I'm gonna do because I'm trying to give myself a reason to come back to wrestling next year. So what I'm going to do, I have to make these guys better. I don't want to quit on them.
Well, no, and I know you
Right,
wouldn't.
right.
It's not like you would just walk in and be like, bye.
if we don't win all, if we don't win our unified duels, I'm going to say bye. Friday, they won't see me.
How about this? How about this? It's all about restructuring your thinking. Instead of saying bye, how about you just walk in wearing all white? Then they automatically know what's going to come. I like that idea.
I like that too.
And
But
then you find out who's really committed.
yeah, yeah. But what
Coach,
what
I'm
they
feeling
I'm going
sick.
to I've had that happen. Well, that was during our workout, during our white workout. But I will. I think I'm gonna have like a practice one day a week over the summer. After the season's over,
You could
just
do the wrestling camps that we talked about.
man, yeah,
Imagine that.
one day a week drop-ins, $20.
That'd be cool. You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah,
Now your brain juices are going.
it's going.
It's
I'm
going.
gonna do that. Open to all wrestlers.
But keep in mind, they need days. They
Yeah,
always, I mean, you really think recovery time is as important, if not more important, than practice time and competition time.
yeah,
And no one really puts that into perspective. I mean, it's like I mean, too much rest time could be of concern, but you really need to incorporate rest time. And I think like some of these families, I think you've noticed as well, especially with like club wrestling, they wrestle through school, right? Then the evenings, even after a meet, they will go to club.
I have a guy that goes all the time.
It's not just that, but then Saturdays you do a tournament like you did today. And then
Then he's gonna go
Sundays
Sundays. He's gonna do another tournament. Yeah, he goes
is
all the time.
so we talk about how that's probably not great for your body, but it's definitely not good for your mind.
You know,
You're going 7 days a week of wrestling, dude.
get out of here.
It's just not healthy. It's just not.
No,
And here's the worst part is if, especially if it's wrestling, you are, I mean, your weight is turning into a area of concern because you're not taking in the necessary caloric intake in order to be, healthy.
yeah,
Where it's
no, you're right. So, like, so what do we do about those individuals? How do we help them with those mental? Because it's mental. It's something. It's mental to for them to want to stay charged, stay like they're never good enough, or they need to get better, or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people who just work, go to sleep, and eat and poop, but they pretty much go through the same routine every day. So I've always been a huge advocate for a hobby. Have something in your life that you enjoy doing. That is not work. That is not sports. Because let's be honest here, sports is work, right? So have something in your life that gives you purpose. Because one day you're not going to be able to do that sport again. One day you're
True.
not going to be in school.
This is true.
One day you might move to a different job. You might retire. I don't know. But the one thing that remains true and the one thing that remains content is that hobby, is that thing that makes you happy. So, what gives you purpose is that question that everyone needs to ask themselves because once you answer that question, you'll be set for life and you can handle anything that comes your way.
Yep. Think about this. I vividly remember when I was a senior going into that last game, my senior year, last game. I knew it was the last game of the year, and our coach had that talk with mainly the seniors,
Okay.
and he literally said what you just said. Today is going to be the last day that you put for majority of us. Today is the last day you're going to put those shoulder pads on. So when you go out there and compete, keep in mind that each play, each run, each block could be the last one you do, you know, for your life. And I took that to heart. I was supposed to go on to play at the next level. Didn't have the opportunity, and I look back to that moment. However, I was through the winter leading up to baseball season. Next thing you know, they're putting out their list for who's going to be in the All Star game for the senior All Star game for the West for the South. I was from the South team, and I was one of the kids from the county. I was able to put those shoulder pads on one more time, and I was like elated, and I made the best of it.
Well, it's when you least expected it too.
Yeah,
The best comes when you least expect it.
yeah,
And
for
especially
sure.
like, I mean, I still remember the time where I was told I could never play football again. The doctor said, "Hey, you have this going on in your spine. You are going to be paralyzed if you continue to play." And I was like, "All right, well, don't want to be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life." Not something
Right.
every 16-year-old wants to hear. So you make something out of it. And that's when I kind of went all gung ho in coaching. And I mean, look where we are today, right? So the
Made
relationships you build and the people who you meet along the way really play a part in it. But the big thing is you find your purpose. And through that, like through that time where you found out like, hey, this might be the last time I put on the shoulder pads, right? It really makes you think like, I have so much more worth going for me.
yeah.
It's not just the sport. And I
Right.
feel like when you develop your mind around a sport 24/7, not only will you get burnt out, but then you feel a loss of identity.
For
And
sure.
and I feel like it's all a personal journey. It takes time. Um, and I didn't really find more about my passions until a little bit later after I stopped playing football because football was my life. As
Yeah.
sports was your life, probably when you were younger a long, long, long time ago.
I mean, a lot of young boys and young men. Sports is what they navigate towards. Parents want their kids to be in sports.
Want them to be the athlete of the year
Yeah. Um,
on magazines.
and one thing with me,
The next Patrick
I
Mahomes.
I didn't have to. I wasn't only competing against like myself and my teammates. I had four older brothers,
Yeah.
so I wanted to be better than them. So it was always I was always competing wherever sport we were doing, whether it's baseball, whether it's football, whether it's wrestling, basketball, wherever it was, we was always competing to see who was the best.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah,
Um, there's nothing wrong with competition. It's just important to know your purpose,
yeah, for sure.
just to prevent any burnout from happening.
Yeah.
Um, well, time flies by when you're having fun, Rob.
Oh
Uh,
wow, it's
yeah,
over already.
heck yeah. So that means people have to come in for more. So this has been Expandabilities Meets. If you are interested in learning more about what we do, if you want to visit our Patreon page, you could do that. You can find everything through visiting the website at www.expandabilities.com. Again, that's www.expandabilities.com. Um, you could view or listen to this podcast anywhere where you guys like to listen to your podcasts. We're not stingy, so you can go wherever you want to and you can hear our wonderful voices. Um, but yeah, we'd love to get you involved in our Meets Collective community on Patreon. So give it a visit, find out what it's all about. Reach out to us if you have any questions. You can reach out to us at info@expandabilities.com and shoot us a question, a topic idea. Heck, you could be a guest on our show.
Yep.
Whatever makes you happy, we are here for it. But this is the podcast where mindset, resilience, and real conversations help shape complete athletes. Not just that, but complete people. We're just more in a sports setting, but we connect everything to life. That's what we're here for. But this has been Expandabilities Meets. I'm Alex,
And Robert,
and we will see you guys next time. Peace.
peace.